With us now is a man that covers the Celtics each and every day for Mass Live. He's also the host of the Celtics Lockdown podcast, John Karalis. And John, first and foremost, Kemba Walker. Should we be worried about that knee at 4 months off and he still can't go through a whole practice?
Yeah, I don't know about worried. There's certainly a level of concern. But so what happened was he experienced some pain on the side of his knee after the individual workouts when they first restarted. That pain has since subsided. And why there's some concern is that he still can't go full bore in these practices. But what the Celtics say is that he's going through a strengthening program so as to avoid that pain coming back. So it's an important distinction to make that the pain is gone. But the knee is not still fully strong enough. And I think because of what he went through all season, they're being extraordinarily cautious. So I wouldn't say worry necessarily, but I wouldn't say 100% confident either.
John, it looked like they were a different ball club when he was missing all that time way back in February. Would you agree that they need to have him playing the way he was prior to maybe the first of the year?
Yeah, I mean, when he first came back, he was missing that signature burst. I mean, one of Kemba's, the Kemba move is a change of direction that just leaves a defender going in the opposite direction and it frees Kemba up for a jump shot. And without that burst of speed, he can't set people up for that move. And if he can't set people up for that move, then it takes away from the rest of his game. So if they don't have him at full speed, it certainly is going to hurt, and it's going to take away from his ability to get to the free throw line, his ability to even defend and be part of that team defense. So making sure that Kemba is 100%, not for the seeding games, but for the playoffs that begin in mid-August, that is the #1 priority for the Celtics.
When we last saw the Celtics play, Jayson Tatum, really it was on that West Coast trip, the double overtime game against the Clippers, and then following that, the game against the Lakers. He announced himself as a superstar. Do you expect his game to show even that much more progression in the 4 months since we last saw him?
Well, I mean, I'm very curious to see if he can kind of get back to that level. It's very hard to ask a guy to go back to 30 points a game, which he was averaging after the All-Star break, and shooting like 46% from three. Those are astronomical numbers, so I would probably expect those to maybe come down a little bit. That's just not a sustainable groove. But he has developed this confidence in his game, this confidence in his jumper, to go out there and still carry a team. So maybe not quite at that level, but I think he's capable of reaching a pretty high level. And people don't talk about his defense. He's very good on the weak side. And a lot of times when you get a couple of steals like he does, and you can get out on the break and get a couple of easy dunks, that's what spurs the confidence in that three-point shooting and the rest of his overall game. So even if he comes out cold, if he focuses on that defense, then he can get into that groove again. So he might not get to that same high level, but I think he can still get pretty close.
All right, John, no home court advantage in this tournament. Basically, we can look at it this way. It's like an AAU tournament. Having said that, I think that really helps the Celtics. But how far can they go in this postseason as they're constructed right now?
Well, I think they have a really good chance to go far because Brad Stevens loves to say this. The team that finds its joy in this bubble is the team that's going to have a really good chance. And what he means is this is such a unique circumstance. By the time it's all over, the last team standing will have been there for 3 months. And this, right now, they're about 10 days into it, which is what a long road trip would normally be. So basically from today moving forward, they're in unprecedented territory. What the Celtics have had throughout this entire season is a really tight team chemistry. They're already a team that has gone out in large groups to do things together. So when Brad Stevens says find their joy, I think this is a team that can stick together throughout all of this. And I'll tell you what, I see in this Celtics team a lot of what I've seen in Patriots teams under Belichick, where you knew Belichick had control of that team and he had their ears because they would mimic what he was saying. They would kind of repeat his message. And a lot of the message that Brad Stevens has been sending out about what's important for this season, when we talk to the other players on the team, a lot of them have been mimicking the same message. They've been relaying the same thoughts. So to me, that makes it feel like Brad Stevens really has a hold of this team. They've bought in, and that's really going to be one of the differentiators that helps them succeed.
Without question. John Karalis, well said. All right, John Karalis, read him every day, masslive.com, and, of course, the Locked On podcast. John, we appreciate it.
Thanks.